say like, I can't hear you or something like that. So I'm just going to change my view. Okay, so Andrea, I know you. Hi. It's lovely to see you again.
Hi.
Earphones don't work. I will just take them out. Am I good to go on earphones? Can you hear me all right?
Hi, I can't hear you that well. Can you hear her, Andrea?
How about that? Just take the earphones out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's so much better.
These are like brand new. Anyway, I'm diverting. Okay, so first of all, I'm Carol. I'm going to just introduce myself, and I'm going to pretend, obviously, because some of the ladies might listen to the recording. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm going to just let everyone know a little bit about me. So I'm Carol. I do personal brand design, and I've been doing it for 22 years. I actually started my business, I think, when I was about 21, 22 years old. And I just said, like, screw it. I can't handle working for companies. I've got to do it on my own. I just have to do it. So I've been doing this for 22 years. I'm also a coach, and I've used a lot of the coaching in my business, and I'm only starting to do coaching now. So I love these kinds of talks that I get a chance to really get behind my computer in a way and show you the process of what I do and why I love branding so much and why it's so important. So I live in South Africa. So it's an early evening here for me at the moment. It's pretty crazy. No one really has, there's only a few ladies that do what I do here in South Africa. It's not as popular in the US. So most of my clients are US based. They mostly live in Bali. They're mostly travelers, very much like Sabrina as well. And I work with people like yourself that are startups, as well as people like Sabrina who have obviously got a lot of programs and things going all the time. Okay. So, Annalie, can you tell me a little bit about where you are right now in your business?
Hi, I'm about a year and 3 months into my business.
Okay.
I recently just decided to officially be a self-love coach about 3 months ago or so. So I just had a pivot.
I love that. So I've recently hired a self-love coach and a consciousness confidence coach. And I was like, I just want to acknowledge you because it's such an important part of the process in order to really get yourself visible to the next start, like the next phase of your business. So I'm personally using one, and for 2 weeks, it's been like unbelievable. So I want to acknowledge you for just going for it. I didn't think there were people that did that, and I'm fantastic work. So well done.
Yeah.
Andrea, what about you? I know a little bit about you, but let's just chat a little more.
Yeah, hi. Nice to talk to you again. I know you did some of my branding, which I love. So for me, I'm still in my corporate 9 to 5, but I do business coaching, and I have a few clients. But I've seen like a shift in my business. So for me, it's more about like, I love to be the teacher. I love to be the one mentoring the person. So for me, I'm definitely shifting into more like digital courses and all about business and coaching, but I'm also feeling like a shift into like manifestation and things like that. So as I came back from my 2-week vacation, I had like a lot of magical experiences that I have not shared with anybody because I was like, these are mine. I've been going through it, and it's just been really great to connect with other women who are just starting out. I think for me, it's more about like the new entrepreneur, just because like I know where she's at and I know what she's feeling, and she's just like, I know there's another way, kind of like what you were saying when you were 20 years old, like there's another way to do this. So just being able to being like in their journey, I'm just honored to like help them as much as I can.
Thank you for sharing. So back when I started my business, we didn't have like really online. It's very, very different now. Okay, it's very different. But I would go and see clients like one-on-one and talk to them about their branding and stuff. It was never Skype or Zoom or anything like this. And You know, back in the day, we would get dressed up and look all pretty, and we'd go out and do our thing and, you know, head home again in the car. So our brand really is like that. It's the same kind of thing. We want to create a beautiful, special impression on people that we want to work with. And the bottom line, and I try and simplify branding to the very essence of what it is. So I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I like to keep things very, very simple, because if we just keep the things simple, then we'll remember them. So the bottom line is that there are so many new startups and new coaches coming out all the time. But it's like, I'm a designer. There are web designers, logo designers, brand designers coming out all the time. So that's not a way to say, oh my gosh, the market is flooded, I shouldn't be doing this. This is the beautiful time to say, what can I do to really, really stand out from the crowd and be myself? And sometimes it's not always about being the loudest and the most. Sometimes what I do with my branding, and this is a real big trick, I'm actually going a bit too far, but my big trick that I do for some of my clients is, even if you're a startup, I try and pull back a little bit in terms of the design. Because I can see a starter, say someone in business under 2 or 3 years, you can see it quite easily in their design. It's very much DIY, they might have done it themselves, and I'm not knocking that at all, because you're on a limited budget. I get that. I have been there, like I've been there too. But it comes across that you're trying too hard. And I always say, like, branding is like going on a date, right? You've had your first dates. And sometimes if you try too hard and you like the guy too much, you're actually repelling them in a way. So it's kind of like branding is the same thing. You don't want to push yourself too much out there. You want to hang back a little bit so your client comes into your space and they are attracted to you. That's my tone of branding. That's what I think the magic is that little bit there. So that's how I think, that's where I want to operate in people's brands. So how do we get there? So I'm going to go back to Sabrina, who obviously you know, and I've been working with Sabrina for about 18 months. And she came to me 18 months ago, I think, maybe a bit longer. And she said, I've got this, you know, she was actually relatively new as well. And she was living in Bali, and her brand was very much Bali nomad, chilled, spiritual, you know, cool, easygoing. And she's like, no, I don't want that brand anymore, because she was ready for that next level of like, I'm going to really take this shit seriously. And she was extremely, extremely clear on and focused on what she wanted. She had that picture in her mind, say that vision board that you have or she has, which is exactly what she's living now. She wanted a high-end brand. She wanted to promote, obviously give out a lot of value in different courses and different ways for people to work with her. And she wanted a brand that was reflective of a more European, traveling, luxury lifestyle. And that's exactly where she and I worked together to get that brand. So she's traveling now in Rome. She's got the Birkin bag. She is the epitome of that brand that she imagined back then. When we're starting with this branding, the whole thing is that you're going to be branding to where you are going to be maybe 6 months to a year. Let's just say, I'm not saying that you're not going to have overnight success and you might sell out anything, your courses and programs. It's very possible. But I try and create a brand that you will be in that. You're reflecting into the future. These are the kinds of people you're going to attract. This is the kind of packages you're going to have. So before we get into any kind of branding, it's really, really important to be so clear in your mind what it is and who you are going to be in 6 months to a year's time. Who is that person? And you kind of like designed for her because you're getting there. And even if you say, I am her, then you are already, and you kind of catch up very quickly. So I am earning that amount. I have these clients. My brand looks like that. So that's how I imagine it, and I create into that space, which is quite a beautiful thing because we're manifesting in a way, right? And the stuff does happen. So, okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm going to just stop me at any time, and I will ask, stop me anytime and say, hey, I've got a question, or hold on, I don't understand. Just go for it.
Yes, I have a question.
Go for it.
So what was coming up for me was I'm really wanting to do goddess branding, but I also see myself as like luxury branding, but I feel like almost that would be like later on because I'm not living that lifestyle, like in like the beautiful gowns and like exquisite outfits, like in Paris with my Chanel bag. Like that's where I see myself going, like with Ferrari and stuff. But right now I'm feeling like goddess. Would that be too confusing to go, or like is that like incremental steps?
I think start it now. There's no reason to be that now. I mean, it's like, for example, if someone is wanting to lose, like I want him to lose weight, I'm on a weight loss journey at the moment. I'm going to buy things that are slightly smaller than me because I will fit into them. Damn girl, I'm fitting into those things, right? So I say, don't wait I'm not saying your brand doesn't grow and change as you move on. It's very, very possible.
Okay.
However,
come on, start, come on.
But I would say, Annalie, be that goddess now. Be that in your branding and embrace it now. Because who's to say you are not that right now?
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, I look at these luxury pictures and I could look on Pinterest for hours and I'm like, oh my God, that's where I want to be. But I've been like, oh, but I'm still like in the same spot, not traveling, not there yet. So I've been holding back on that. So I guess just like find like, okay. Because that's what
Because, and we'll get into that in a little while, it's because it's what's going to set you apart from other love coaches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I haven't really seen that in like the coaching industry with love coaches. And I'm like, that's so me, like luxury.
So we're going to that's exactly it. And that's what I push on quite hard, not push on, but that's what I'm wanting to convey in branding is really your personality. Because, okay, we're going to get there. We also you're going to expand.
No, that's good. That just came up to me. I'm like, oh, do I do that now? Or like, is that later? But you were saying with Sabrina. So thank you.
I mean, Sabrina was still living in Bali when we did the brand. She still was getting her programs together. So once we launched her brand and her website, it wasn't that long until she was living into that. And then I think 18 months later, she had a $200,000 month, which is very doable. But she knew that already. She had, and I think with Sabrina, what sets her apart, and you might really be present to that, is her mindset is so strong. She is very, very, very clear on who she is and what she does. And her biggest thing was, I am going to start making decisions as someone who earns X amount a month. And that was her biggest shift. And she made those executive decisions. And that's not easy. I think especially for me, the older I am, because I'm older than you guys, it's not that easy to make a decision. But I think you're in a stage where you can actually just decide, I'm going to make decisions right now, because that is what someone who is earning that amount is going to make. That's who she is. So she lived into that persona and really embodied it before she was that. But then truthfully, she was that because she was doing it. She was making the decisions. And that is so, so powerful. She really, really did such a good job on that. So it's important to refresh your brand or create a strong brand when you know that you're not selling as much of your products and services as you want to, when you know that your brand is looking a bit DIY, when you know that you've got to change like you have on a league, changing in a career direction as well. So sometimes people are business coaches and then they change into something else, or a health coach into a business coach. So when you shift that, it's a little bit scary because you want to keep your existing clients, but actually in a way you've outgrown them. And the thing is, sometimes you outgrow your brand. And it's possible that in 2 years, 3 years time, you might outgrow what you are creating now. And I want to say to you, don't get stuck. Don't get so stuck in your brand and take it so seriously that you have to stick to these colors all the time. Life is flowing, it's moving all the time. So don't get too stuck. So maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, Goddess is all amazing. The next time it's all something else. Doesn't matter too much. You want the core of your brand to really, really be solid. And the core of your brand is ultimately your purpose and what you're doing on earth to serve. And that is not going to change. So I know we're not even getting to the visuals right now, but this is such an important part of your brand, because if you're very, very clear on your purpose and who you want to serve and why you are doing this, then it's not about you. It's about your clients. And that's why that core won't change, and your branding kind of goes out from there. Okay. So the colors.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry. I think earlier I unmuted myself when I was walking my dog. My bad. But my question is, I have a really hard time with this because I love luxury stuff too. I'm not like a Birkin bag girl, but I'm like, I love when things look really fancy, look really nice. Like, and there's times in my life where I'm like that. And there's times in my life where I'm just like, I'm totally cool shopping at Target, and I don't know how to put both of those in my brand. I feel like I have, but like, I feel insecure about the side where I'm like, I'm also like, I'm a deal like girl. I'm luxury, but I'm also like more down to earth. So I'm like struggling with that portion because I think Sabrina is a really good example. Like, she shows off all like luxury on her website, but then she shows up to her calls like makeup list and like just chilling. And like, that's what I do too. So like, is that somewhat bad for your brand, or is that good that you have both sides?
I think it's good. I'm going to head off into that exactly that discussion a bit later on, but I agree. You have to show the brand is like going out on your first date, right? It is. You want to show that good impression. But ultimately, if you get hitched to this guy, then they're going to see you in sweatpants. They're going to see you, PMS. They're going to see the worst. You know what I'm trying to say? They're going to see the other side of you. And I think that's so good in creating that like factor, because then you are a real person, right? We all know that we can get dressed up and look pretty and go out, and we can look sparkling and get our fancy clothes and bags. But ultimately, we all know that we head off to yoga, we sweat, we have bad hair days, and that makes us like you more, right? That with regards to women, we get a connection when it's more real as well. So I say, even if your visual brand looks upmarket and very polished, it's okay to actually come on and do lives where there's no makeup and you're having a bit of a bad day, and that's okay, and you can share that. So I think it's important to show every part of you. It makes you real. And the whole thing about branding, and what I really want to see with women, is the more real you can get with yourself and present that to the world, the more you're going to set yourself apart from other people. Because no one wants to work with a coach that's so unattainable, right? And so perfect, because it's just going to bring out our issues. We're not good enough. We will never be as good as our coach, and we don't really want that. We want our coaches to be really relatable. So
okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Very, very important. It's very important. Like, A lot of my branding, I mean, I'm revamping my branding at the moment, but a lot of your brand is also behind the scenes, and it shows something different to what you are. So when you think of Sabrina, you think of, she's traveling, right? She's in an exotic location. She's with a hunky Australian boyfriend, right? She's probably ordering something online and sipping champagne in a bathrobe with messy hair. That's how you imagine her. We're not talking about the colors of a brand, the fonts of a brand. We're not talking anything about that. That's the kind of brand. So a part of my brand is, I love the water. I go and swim with dolphins in Mozambique. I call myself jokingly a mermaid. So people know that that's part of my brand. It's a bit of a quirky area that I have, and that sets me apart from other people. And I know just because you're an entrepreneur, there's a rebelness to you. There's a rebel heart inside of you. You're going to go against the grain. You're going to say no to the 9 to 5. You're going to say no to your parents. You're like, what are you doing? You should have a stable job, and you should. But you're forging your own way. So because of that, I know you all have your own quirkiness, something that means something to you. So that, I believe, needs to stand out in tandem with your polished, lovely brand of visuals, website, sales pages. That's all nice and tight and clean. In addition to that, I want to see you be you. So you'll see on social media, the only things I really post about, apart from branding stuff, is water, ocean conservation, dolphins, travel. So people get to know, and South Africa, so people get to know I am that too, in addition to the polished colors and visuals as well. So I think it's highly, highly, highly important to do that. So let's go into any questions at the moment. Any more questions?
I have a quick question. And I know, because what Madeline said about, Target and then Lux, I also, and maybe you might go into this later, which we can hold off, is totally okay. I guess when it comes to copy, right? Like the content that like how you express yourself, I think that's something where, for me, like, not that I struggle with, but I know I'm really good with my content. Like, I know what words I like, I know how I like to write it out, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't know if this matches like who I'm trying to be in like that more elevated space. But again, I'm trying to be elevated but fun. So I'm like, okay, maybe this kind of goes with it. So any words of advice on, I guess, like how to match your brand with your content? And if you were going to talk about this later on, that's totally okay too.
I yes and no. I wasn't going to, but you brought up such a good point, because it's the one thing that I think there's two things that stop people really. And one is what we've gone into, which is really getting clarity in what you want to achieve and who you are and what your message is. That's the one big part that people get really stuck on. The second part, Andrea, is exactly what you mentioned. Is my content and copy matching my brand? And it's a tough one. And people say, how much should I share of myself? And is that on brand? So I was shocked. I'm not even going to repeat some of the things. I read something on Facebook this week that shocked me, that someone was sharing about themselves and highly, highly personal information, which I would say is so personal that you really should not be sharing that that's not on brand. I mean, that is crazy personal stuff. There's that level of too much information. Well, she was like crazy there. So I think as long as it's in the realm of, I'm not sharing too much personal information, because sometimes there's people are taking out that shock factor. It's like, oh my gosh, you get this headline that's like, I told my boyfriend, I left him at the altar kind of headline, something really traumatic. You don't want to go there. That's first of all, I know that's not quite your answering question, but first of all, don't make it so personal. The second thing is, I can't even answer that question, because only you would know the answer to that. And the best way to answer that question is, what feedback are you getting from your audience? So if your feedback is, you know, a lot of likes and a lot of comments and sharing, then yes, you're doing the right thing. But if you see that it's kind of like no one's responding, then maybe that's your answer. I mean, I've had posts where I think are great and then like crickets, okay? So I delete that because I know, okay, great. That's not exactly what they're wanting to hear from me. Post that rather. So I know that's not a definitive question answer to your question, but I think people mention having stories and having a couple of stories that you keep on reiterating all the time in different ways. And I know with my brand now, I'm rebranding my voice, is that it's really good to keep to those certain parameters and sometimes do something different and crazy, but look for the response in your audience, I think, and see how they feel. Or else there's ask a bestie as well, a business bestie, and say, hey, does this actually sound like me? Is this, or am I trying to copy another coach? Or is this really my voice? I think as you start, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, a lot of like the way I write is the way I would probably speak to someone. You know, even when I answer, I just get super excited and I'm like, yes, like I'm just so excited for you. So like I write that out, and sometimes I think it's like, oh my God, I feel like that's because my brand is like more like on that elevated state. But I'm just like, I feel like excitement and fun should also be, when you're elevating your life, you should be celebrating. So, and also I want, when I do go like on a live stream or whatever, like I want them to hear that out of me. So they're like, I've read her write it, now I hear her say it, kind of thing.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, with my love coach that I'm working with, my self-love coach that I'm working with, I mean, she is just all about the high vibes. Do anything you can to get into high vibe. So if I see you and you're on a live stream and you're like, hey, I'm like, wow, this girl is amazing. I'd love some of that energy. So like I said, my love coach, she sends me these long messages over WhatsApp, and I'm like, oh, I just love listening to her voice. You know, she brightens up my day. So if that is one of your purposes in life, damn, go for it. Do not dim that light at all. Like really just, you know, a lot of my branding and my voice is very simple and to the point. And I'm like, oh, Carol, you know, maybe you should be writing these long posts like everyone else because they're getting so much. And I'm thinking, you know what? It's just not me. I want to get to the point. I want to get simple. Like, I don't want to waste your time, but that's who I am. I'm not knocking anyone else who does things differently and uses a different way to communicate. I communicate visually more than I do verbally or written words. So Sabrina talks about this a lot. Everyone, you've heard it 1,000 times. Branding is about know, like, and trust factor. Okay, that's as simple as it gets. It ain't going to get more complicated than that. So we're going to break that down a little bit, like I said, because it's so important. Because if people know, like, and trust you, they're going to buy from you. Like that. That's it. Okay, there's nothing more to it. People buy from people. They buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So let's break that down. So how do you get someone to know you? Okay, because ultimately we are dealing with people that are online, and you probably are not going to meet them face to face. So the way to do that is we've spoken about this before, about standing out from the crowd. And you've got to have a brand that's memorable and really professional. So that's where Annalie, your goddess brand, is going to stand out from the crowd, right? Because it's different to everyone else. And Andrea, your voice of being bubbly and bright and fun, that's going to stand out and make your brand memorable, because people will know you. Okay, I remember her. I know her. The big thing about getting to know someone is sharing your personality with them, and that's your realness. So we're breaking down barriers, and it takes some time. I'm going to reiterate, it takes time to make friendships and create a relationship with someone online. Sometimes they might just say, hey, you are just what I'm needing. I'm like, sign me up here. It might happen instantaneously, but don't forget, you've spent a lot of time making sure that she is your right ideal client as well. And your branding is in complete alignment to her because you have her in mind. So I've got a picture of like Saskia, who is my ideal client, and she's on the wall because I know who she is. I know what her pain points are. I know what she needs from me. So I literally have a picture of, I mean, it's a fake Saskia, right? But I have her in mind at all times. So when I meet a Saskia and they're like, Carol, you're the one for me, it's like that magic is created. Could have been in an instant, but not really. I've done a lot of work to know that that's my ideal client, and she gets that from me as well. The next thing is the like factor. They've got to like you, right? They can know you. Now they've got to like you. And this is when I believe your quirks really come into play. So they will like you. People like me because I'm from South Africa and I've got this, you know, accent, and oh, I was in safari 3 years ago and I love Africa. So immediately they like me. Or else it's, hey, I also do open water swimming and I've also swum with the dolphins and I love your pictures. So they like me because of that. So yes, I've got a whole bunch of stuff behind me. I've got 22 years, but they are hiring me because they like me, right? They want to spend time with me. And especially in the coaching industry, it's such a personal space that you've got to have someone who you've got to have a likeness there. So that's where I encourage you to share that rebelness of you, your personality that's slightly quirky, that's slightly different from everybody else. And show that part of you. So for example, on the weekend, I got a new kayak, I went for a long kayak and I had mermaid pants on. So I did a story and it's like, hey, my mermaid pants are on brand. I make a joke about it. It's not that serious, but I'm still trying to reiterate again and again that like factor of, actually, I like this girl. She's out there, she's getting exercise, and she's an ocean girl. So that's what I try and push quite a lot. So whatever your brand is, I mean, I've got a friend who loves unicorns and that's her brand. Another friend of mine is all about rainbows. And, you know, people send her pictures of rainbows because that's her thing. It doesn't matter what yours is, but that's how people like you. It makes you real and it makes you like easy to bond with. That's the word. The next thing is that trust factor. So someone can know you, they can like you, but are they going to spend money on you? And that's where we come down to the crux of it. And that's where the visual branding comes into play quite a lot. And that's where it's about, do you believe in yourself so much that you've invested in your business to create a beautiful brand? And if you trust yourself, then people will trust you as well. So if you're in a position to say, actually, I really believe that my business is going to be kick-ass and I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my heart and soul into this, people can see that by looking at your brand and your website and your presence online. They really can make a difference. And within a millisecond, they can tell if your brand is professional, if it's on point, and what you are selling. And it's got nothing to do technically really with the colors or shapes or how, they can just see it. And the big secret here is that less is more. So the less you do with your brand, the less colors that you have with your brand, the less like shouting and screaming, and the more muted your brand is. And I'm not saying mute your message or mute your goddess, but the more elegant it is, the more professional it is, you're going to come across looking like someone who's been in business for 10, 15, 20 years. And that like factor is going to click on in those people's heads. They really will. Because they know and they can associate that kind of brand with Sabrina Phillips brand, Marie Forleo brand, all these big names have that kind of brand element to them. They're subdued, they are quite, they're a little bit more reserved, feminine, right? I can guarantee you that Marie Forleo, if you met her, or even Oprah Winfrey, they are not small, like, they are not playing small. They're probably huge characters, huge people, huge personalities, but their brands don't need to prove it to anybody. And that's the big secret. You want your brand to say, I am so worthwhile and I know who I am. I've got nothing to prove to anyone. I don't need to shout and scream my brand from the treetops. And I think as soon as I see some brands that are trying so hard and so colorful and they're just so much, you're like, no girl, there's something, why are you trying so hard? You don't need to do that. So branding, the secret to some really good, strong branding is to really hold back a little bit in the amount of colors or brightness or visuals. You can really turn that down a bit. And the one thing that I've realized with, colors is, and I've seen this time and time again, use colors that you physically are wearing and using every day and you see in your home. You'll be surprised, and your jewelry, you'll be surprised how much you are your brand, and you can just carry that over into your brand visuals. It's astounding. So even when I have client meetings and I have them on Zoom and I can see the background of their home, I can immediately tell what kind of logo is going to come out to be, what kind of brand they're going to have, because they're living in their brand in their home all the time. So that is really cool. And the big thing with the trust factor as well is there's no getting out of this, but to get really good branding photographs. So there's three elements: the branding photographs, the brand visuals, and your brand voice. And those three in tandem create a really powerful energy for people to magnetically be drawn to you. So the branding photographs are, here is where you can also really play with your brand. You can, now that you know your message, you know your colors, you know that know, like, and trust factor, you know who your brand hero is, your Saskia, who's mine. You do those pictures for that person. So I'm not saying also don't ever dim your lights. You can go full out. Like, honestly, if you want to have your goddess beautiful dress, damn, go for it. Have fun with it. It's about not taking it too seriously and saying, you know what, this is who I am. I'm giving myself permission to be who I am. I'm going to be as visible as I want. I'm going to show you my heart's on my sleeve. And people will warm up to you because it gives them permission to be themselves. And it gives the new people that are just starting out in business to really say, I'm worthwhile. I believe in myself. I can do this. Because ultimately, this is what's going on in our heads all the time. Who am I to be doing this? I'm too scared. I'm fearful. We have that going on constantly on our heads. So the more you're able to really be yourself and step into that powerful arena, the more people will know, like, and trust you and will want to work with you because you're such a great person, right? You're like their best friend. And you're probably going to be sharing deeper stuff with your coach than you would your family or friends. So it's a really highly sacred space to create that environment for someone to come into that space and be in your audience and be in your tribe and sign up for your freebies, sign up for your webinars, sign up for your masterminds, your coaching programs that you're going to be having, because they really love your feel. And I'm guessing that the reason why you and I, or all of us, me included, sign up for Sabrina's courses and put money in hers, because we really believe that she can give us the results. We believe that. It doesn't take an hour conversation with her. We just know that. It just kind of clicks on, and we really, really believe that. And that is Sabrina being her brand, being true to, being very clear on what her mission is in the world, and really living up to that and really delivering. So you can see branding is a lot more than just websites and colors and voice. It's a whole package. It really is. We can go into more specifics on what we should have on the homepage, what other things you need, but I'm here for your disposal. So tell me if you have any questions right now, or if you what you want from me, because I'm here to help in any way I can.
I have a question. Okay,
Yes.
so for me, I have a website, and it's very on brand for me. When I first started working with Sabrina, I just went through and asked my audience like what they thought my brand, like the character traits, stuff like that, and they pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything besides that. They said that I'm very informal, and I think that they're meaning more along the lines of what I was telling you, where it's like I'm relatable. But if you search my website right now, like it's MadelineRoseFitness.com, it doesn't, like, I want it to be seen as professional. I want the side where it's like, I'm a badass bitch that can 100% get you results and I'm super professional, but yeah, I'm also the cool chick that you could hang out with, like, and not talk about fitness and drink some wine with. Like, that's the goal of my brand. And I just want to know how I can force them to see the side of me that's like, hey, I'm also like a very, like, I'm a business owner that is investing in my business because I believe in this. Like, I'm like being 100% honest, like I am putting the money forward that I don't have yet because I'm living the life expecting that I'm making that income. You know what I mean? Like, I paid for a whole website. I paid for people to help me, stuff like that. So I'm just wondering how I can start portraying that professional side too, unless it's just going to naturally come out now that I have a sales page, now that I have on my website like 100% done. Like, should I just start talking about my website more so they actually go to that and see, oh wow, this is professional? Or what's your advice there?
I think that's a good question. So I think definitely show your website, show
Okay.
your sales page. I think what I'm also doing in my branding, I'm also revamping. I'm showing a lot more people's testimonials as well, to build up that credibility. So yes, we all have a fun side to us, but I think in order to create that professional feel so that people start buying into us, ticket items as well, not just lower ticket items, higher ticket items, you have to come across as really, really sharp and professional. So you can do that not only through your website, but on your Facebook banner, Instagram, banners, pictures, and portray that really slick design and elegance, because it's about the elegance there. That, I think, is the key word in creating this professional brand, because that's part of the trust factor. So do anything you can to build up that trust factor, including, like I said, testimonials. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I've been asked to speak in the summit. Hey, I've done this podcast. Keep on showing, my client just sold her first ... She's earning that much per month. So don't be afraid to really present that professional side of you and show off your proof of being professional. It doesn't mean you can still carry on being the cool person, being that fun person, having shown that fun side of you, and at the same time, I think it's more 65% professional, and then have that fun side of you. I think have it a little bit more professional than have 50-50, because when I signed up for my love coach, you get that kind of buyer's remorse, for example. Oh no, I've spent all this money. What am I going to do? Did I do a crazy thing? And, she sent me through all of these questionnaires and her PDFs, and they are so professional looking, and her onboarding process, onboarding process was so slick and done so well. All her systems were completely in place, and that like just held me. It held that space that I was needing, and I trusted her even more. So those kinds of things sharpen up a lot of that in your business. Like, what are clients seeing from you? Your pricing, not only on your website. Do you have some kind of documents that you show them, or questionnaires? What does that look like? Take a look at your freebie. Is it like, something that a kid can do? You got to really, really show that it's outstandingly designed.
So I'd say what I'm getting from you is everything needs a match.
Yes.
Like, my website needs a match. My visuals on Instagram. Gotcha. Okay, I think that's where I'm lacking, because I'd say since I got my website, I have like progressively made things match, but I think it just needs to be a whole revamp altogether. So it's like,
Totally. You can't, see, the thing is you can't go through all this process. This is the problem I found. People go through the process, do this work, launch their website, and then they sit back. That's when the real work starts. And you have to start marketing your whole brand through all mediums. And I have spent literally 2 weeks doing that with my brand. Hey, Kelsey. I've been doing this with my brand. So everything is consistent. My message is consistent. The photograph that I've used on everything is all consistent. My onboarding process is consistent. My Instagram still needs some help, but consistency throughout your brand is so important, including on your stories as well. It's so important. You cannot, and consistency, and then you've got to carry on that. You've got to have, so it's cohesive brand and consistency throughout that. You just don't stop. You can't drop the ball on that. You've got to keep that up at all times. Does that answer your question, Madeleine? I think she's still around.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. So what I've been leaning towards is like a hot pink, magenta, and gold, and flowers. But I noticed that I do wear other colors with flowers. Is that getting in my head too much to like not wear those colors and mainly keep it to like the pinks and the flowers? I just know that I'm always in florals, so that's like consistent.
I think just go with the flow. Just have fun with it. You don't have to think much about it. I mean, if you're floral, I love the magenta and the gold. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just see that. I can see that, definitely.
Yes.
And just play with it. You don't have to anything specific at all. I mean, the whole thing is about creating that strong brand presence, and then kind of having that little bit of play. I mean, back in the day, oh my gosh, when I did branding for corporates, they had one logo, one way to do that. You couldn't divert. It was completely standardized, and it was so boring. But here, it's about flexibility, okay? We can still have fun with our brand. We don't necessarily have to keep it, I'd say keep it 90%. The whole thing is you're going to have your personality. You might feel like wearing blue today, or, just roll with it. Kelsey, you've just joined us. Do you have any questions at all? Oh, we've missed her.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm on my. Okay, so my question is, when your brand is changing, like I find myself evolving a lot based on what I find like clients are interested in, what I myself am interested, but my overall message I think is consistent, but sort of like I help people manage money, but I do it in a way that like makes them feel really positive about it, and like, budget to save for like their goals and like have fun with it. But I feel like I am still growing, and I'm not sure if that's like my final message ever. Like when your message is like changing and you're growing, how do you keep your brand consistent still, if that makes sense?
That does. We spoke about that briefly a little bit earlier.
Okay, sorry.
No, your brand will grow. It will grow. You will change. It's almost a guarantee. So even if you shift and change a little bit, and your branding can stick with that. It doesn't have to be a whole new brand. You don't have to. So for example, if your brand is Aqua, and I'm not sure what your brand is looking like at the moment, but you don't have to change the colors. You don't have to change. You can just change your messaging. People often come to me for a brand refresh. So it doesn't mean that we change the brand completely. We just kind of update it. So people can still see, okay, the colors are the same. Maybe there's a different font. Maybe the messaging is slightly different. And now you've decided to work with people in this format, in this small, you might be niching somewhere else. Let's just say that. You might be niching somewhere and only work with digital nomads who are traveling, and that's it. It doesn't matter. So your brand might change a little bit more and your pictures might be more geared around them. But ultimately, I'm finding that when you refresh your brand, it's so small that people don't really see the difference that much. Your colors are the same. It's the same person in front of the camera. It's the same person in the branding pictures. And guaranteed, your brand will grow. It will change. I mean, even myself, I mean, I'm the worst person when it comes to branding my own business because I'm just got analysis paralysis. It's easier to do everyone else's brand like this, right? I can do that in my sleep, but I can't do mine. So I've changed my colors, I've changed my voice, I've changed my message. But now it doesn't matter. You can, when you refresh it, it doesn't have to be that much of a huge brand change at all. It really doesn't. Because I said, ultimately, your core message is who you are, right? And people respond, you are your brand. People are going to respond and buy to you. They don't buy your brand. Your brand is just an extension of who you are. They're going to buy from you. They're going to buy because they know, like, and trust you. Not because they know your brand and you've got, like, stock images all over your whole site. They won't. No, actually, it's interesting. I wonder if anyone would buy from a site that just shows stock images and someone who is never visible and never online. It's quite an interesting thought. Probably not. But no, people buy from you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a quick question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, carry on, Andrea.
Because you had mentioned it. So I guess when it comes to like websites, like the main like homepage and stuff like that, that's really what I'm interested about. And you were saying like simple sometimes is even better. So I guess like what are the top components in like a homepage? And then like also the top components of like your menu bar, like what is like, because that's valuable real estate and you don't want to like scrunch it up with like 10 menu items. Unless they're like drop down, of course. So just trying to figure out like what are the top, the ones that like really get, I guess, like results or traction. What should you have at least, like even just starting out?
So I think as starting out, it's quite common that I see in most of my clients. Obviously, a homepage, an about page, and again, the about page is really good because of the know, like, and trust factor, and keep some of your personal information in there. We want to know if you have dogs or cats or married and kids, if you like to travel, we want to know that. And then the next page is if you're a blogger. Some people have a blog or a podcast page, okay? And then it would be your work with me page. So generally coaches have around 3 main ways to work with them. It could be one-on-one coaching, it could be a group program, and maybe a online course that you can download, something like that. It's normally around 2 or 3. So there we've kind of got 3 so far: home, about, and work with me. And then there's always maybe another one in there. It could be, a lot of people that have YouTube and your videos or something like that. And then I would say the fifth one, which is not necessarily a page, which will be your signature offering. So if you're starting out, it's going to be your signature course, your signature thing that you really want people to buy the heck out of, right? It's your high ticket item. And that's your sales page. That's going to have that's going to be the one that's the most important, because ultimately they buy from that page. So if you could choose, as you have limited funds at the moment, and if you have to choose to do one thing, do the sales page, because you can still have about me in the sales page, but ultimately there's a strong call to action and people will buy from you. The rest of the website ultimately is to bump up your know, like, and trust factor and say, hey, you know what, I'm actually know what I'm doing and I'm pretty good at what I'm doing, and you can trust me and know me and like me. That's really what it's about. The sales page is for sales. So Sabrina's got a very simple menu at the top, but she does have that a drop down, and we can do a whole bunch of things there. There's retreats, there's lives, there's courses, there's VIPs, so she has a lot of options, and each one is a sales page. But ultimately, quite a small website of know, like, and trust, and then quite a lot with regards to sales pages. So sales page is more important. I'm going to go on the record and say it's more important than a website. If you have limited funds, go for the sales page. And then I love your question about what to put on the homepage if you get there. And there's three things that I think, and I say to my clients the same thing again and again. You want them to do three things on the website. You want to get them to know you. So that's why you've got beautiful branding pictures. Okay, it's like, oh, that feels nice. You look great. You feel good. You could be like a girlfriend that I want to have lunch with. Okay, you want to get that immediately, and that we do from pictures and visuals. That is ticked off. The second thing is we want them to download something and get a feel of who you are and what you're offering. So that's where you also want to build up your database. So that freebie is so important, and that's got to be on brand. It's got to be looking gorgeous, and you want to have something that's really, really powerful. And then the third thing actually is getting on a call with you somehow. So get them inspired and whet their appetite by what you're offering so much that they're going to want to say, hey, I want to discover a call with you. Because they might not necessarily buy straight off the cuff from, depending on your packages. Some are quite long-term and longer, a huger and a bigger investment. So people want to get to know you before they give you the go-ahead. And that's where you really want to push, hey, get me on a call. And you're not going to give out free coaching. It's not about that. You can have a 20-minute call, but try and get them on a wait list. Try and get them on something that they can contact you and have you meet me, right? Talk to me. I think that's highly, highly important. But going down the page, definitely a freebie. Definitely have a little bit about yourself, and then a read more, because I want to get to know you a bit better. People are doing a lot more videos as well. And then it's a little bit of a work with me in these ways. Click here, or click here. And then some testimonials on the page. Again, the testimonials is all about to increase that trust factor. Wow, these girls that you've worked with kind of look like me. They had the same problems as me, and look at the results that you have given them. So I want to see results from other people, and that's homepage stuff. Or else on the Work With Me page. And then maybe an Instagram feed, depending on your target markets. And depending on a lot of factors, I have Instagram, as I would advise an Instagram feed or not. Sometimes it's nice to keep that homepage really, really fresh and clean, but have your social media on there. And if you have a Facebook page, have that. Come and join the Facebook page. But then you can also use that in terms of your marketing. So if someone has downloaded your freebie, they'll get an email. Thank you so much for subscribing. please come and join the rest of my group, the rest of some amazing women like you in my freebie. Have you considered coaching, or something? You know, you reiterate that you give value and you are someone that is going to give value to their lives. It's highly unlikely people are going to buy from you first off. It's not impossible, but people like to warm up to you a little bit. That's why your freebie is going to help. That's why connecting with them on social media, Instagram, that's what I do on a homepage. If I'm not ready to buy from you yet, I'm curious, and then I stick on your mailing list, and I follow you on social media. That way, I get to kind of get a deeper sense of who you are, and then I decide, okay, I'm going to work with you. So it's going to take a little while for me to get there. So that's the process, but again, keep it simple. Gone are the days are where websites were these huge brochures and this is what I can do for you and this is how great I am. It's not. It's about what you can do for that other person, what you do for them. The truth is people don't care about you. They don't. And I mean, I think you really need to get that into your heart. Is people don't care about you in that way. They want to care what you can do for them because they want their lives to be better. So it's about keep your wording and your voice always about them, always about them. This is what I can do for you. I can do this for you because I've been there where you have been. I've experienced the same pain that you've experienced. Again, just building that trust factor and saying, hey, I've got your back. I can hold your hand through this. I can get you to the other side. And as soon as you're able to do that visually and through words and through photographs, you've sold that person. Any more questions? I think we're running off our time and I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Are you all good? Thank you. I've really enjoyed this time. If you need to get hold of me, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and please feel free to reach out if any other questions come up. I'll only be too happy to answer anything you have for branding. So get visual, get powerful, and get out there and do your stuff. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.